I'm used to that.
Just for you.
No, thank you.
Step up. I don't see you. Nice to see you. You may be seated. Am I receiving stipulations that yours are present and properly seated?
Yes, Judge, they are.
Yes, Judge.
Yeah, well, let me call you next witness.
Judge, people call Officer Manic Chroma.
Do you solemnly swear or affirm that the testimony you're giving the matter can be before this court is the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God?
I do.
Could you swear the first and last name for me, please?
Manic, Amanda X, last name Coleman, K-R-O-M-A.
Have a seat and chair for me.
Thank you.
You may proceed.
Thank you, Judge. Good morning, sir. Could you please state your name and introduce yourself to the jury?
My name is Croman, Detroit,
Oh, go ahead.
Detroit police officers,
How long have you been a Detroit police officer?
21 years,
And where are you currently assigned?
at 11 precinct.
Were you assigned at, there back on March 23rd, 2016?
That's correct.
And were you working that day?
Yes, ma'am.
Were you working by yourself or with a partner?
I'm working with a partner,
And who was your partner?
Officer Reed.
Okay. Around 12:30 in the afternoon, did you receive a police run to Lyford and Gilbo in the city of Detroit?
That's correct.
What's the nature of the run?
Investigate person.
Okay. And did you go to that location?
Yes, I did.
What did you observe once you got there?
Once we got there, there was other officers location.
Okay. And what else did you see?
I saw a gentleman sitting, two plain officers, multi-jurisdictional officers were present, and a gentleman was sitting on the curb, and there was a vehicle parked in the grass.
Okay. Was that a blue pickup truck?
That's correct.
Okay. And did you go up to the truck?
Yes, I did.
And what did you observe inside the truck?
What I observed, there was a lady sitting in the passenger seat. She was very blood over her, and there was blood on the passenger seat of the vehicle, and there was a trail of blood going towards the bushes about 10 feet.
Okay. And did you speak with her at all?
I spoke with her later on, tried to get her info, her name.
And were you able to obtain her name?
That's correct.
And did she tell you it was Natalia Muntean?
That's correct.
Okay. Did you do any type of check or anything on this truck, on the Chevy pickup truck?
Well, there was a lot of blood in the pickup truck, and there was a condom on the floor by the pickup truck.
Did you check to see who the truck was registered to?
Not to my recollection, we did.
I'm sorry, I noticed that you're looking down at your report. If you need to refresh your memory, just let me know, okay? So
Yes, ma'am.
you need to refresh your memory to see if you checked the truck.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, please do so.
Yes, ma'am. I ran the license plate of the truck, and it was registered to the subject, to the gentleman who was sitting on the curb.
It was registered to the subject who was sitting on the curb?
Yes.
Okay. And do you see that person who's sitting on the curb in court today?
Yes, ma'am.
Could you please point to him and tell us what color jacket he's wearing?
The gentleman sitting over there with the coat and tie.
The the coat and tie, which coat and tie?
Yeah, yes. Blue coat and tie.
Okay, Judge, let the record reflect that the witness identified the defendant.
The record may reflect, you may continue.
After you made observations about Miss Muntean, what did you do next?
We have secured the crime scene until other officers arrive at scene, and also supervisor arrive at the scene.
Okay, and after the other officers and the supervisors arrived, did you do anything else?
Yes.
What did you do?
Our supervisor instructed us to take him to Detroit Detention Center and have him processed.
Your supervisor instructed you to take the defendant to the Detroit Detention Center to have him processed?
Yes, ma'am.
And did you do so?
Yes, I did.
What was his demeanor like?
His demeanor was somehow strange. He was acting abnormal, and and he was somehow looking arrogant manner,
Okay.
Yeah.
And once you got him to the Detroit Detention Center, was he processed?
Yes, he was processed.
Okay. And did that conclude your investigation?
Yes.
Nothing else, Judge?
Briefly, Judge. Good morning, officer.
Good morning.
You mentioned you observed a blood trail
Yes.
that was leading from the pickup truck away from the pickup truck.
Yes, sir.
You mentioned it was at least 10 feet, could have been longer.
That's just my approach, Mr.
But you did see a blood trail leading from the truck away from the truck, correct?
Yes.
You described Mr. Muntean as having an arrogant demeanor. What do you mean by that?
Well, when I say arrogant, he was, it appears to me, I'm not a doctor, he was abnormal in terms of, either under some type of influence.
Let me ask you this, officer. You testified you've been a police officer in the city of Detroit for 22 years, correct?
21.
21.
Yes.
And am I safe in assuming that you've been involved with literally thousands of arrests? Would that be a safe assumption?
Correct.
You've been taking literally, as I've mentioned, thousands of people into custody, whether yourself or you've been involved with arrests, correct?
That's correct.
And you've also had the opportunity to take these individuals into custody and take them now the DDC, as you mentioned, but previous to that, whether it be to a precinct, first precinct, or wherever, you've taken people into custody, correct?
That's correct.
So what struck you as unusual about Mr. Muntean's demeanor as opposed to all the other arrests that you've been involved with?
Well, he was not acting normally, from my perspective,
Did he put up a fight? Did he give you a hard time?
Well, he was somehow talking to himself at the back of the squad car, like to say, this is something that he did, he without any type of emotion,
So he was emotionless, correct?
That's correct.
I have no further questions, Judge.
All right. Redirect.
Briefly, Judge. Did you see any injuries on the defendant?
That's correct, ma'am. She was...
No, on the defendant.
No.
Okay.
There was no injury on him.
Okay. Nothing else, Judge.
No recross, Judge.
All right, officer, you may step down.
Thank you, Your Honor.
You're welcome. You may hold it.
Judge, people call Christian Kerr.
testimony you're about to give in the matter pending before this court is the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God? Could you please spell your name for myself and me?
Christian, CHRISTIAN,
And your last name?
KERR.
Okay. Have a seat, Mr. and say that for myself.
You may proceed.
Thank you. Good morning, sir.
Good morning.
Please state your name and introduce yourself to the jury.
Christian Kerr,
And sir, where are you employed?
with the Detroit Police Department.
And in what capacity?
I'm an evidence technician.
What does it mean to be an evidence technician?
We respond to crime scenes and document and collect evidence.
Okay. I want to take your attention back to March 23rd of 2016. Were you working on that day?
Yes.
In the capacity of an evidence tech?
Yes.
And were you asked to go to the Detroit Detention Center to photograph a prisoner?
Yes.
And were you working by yourself or with a partner?
I was working with a partner,
And who was that partner?
Officer Nathan Johnson.
And are you a civilian? sir?
Yes.
Meaning you're not a police officer?
Correct.
Were you also requested to collect the person's clothing?
Yes.
And so did you go to the Detroit Detention Center?
Yes, I did.
And did you encounter that person?
Yes, I did.
And was that person later identified as Radu Muntean?
Yes.
Do you see Mr. Muntean in court today?
Yes.
Would you please point to him and tell us something he's wearing?
He's the gentleman in the dark blue suit.
Which doesn't record reflect the witness who identified this
You
person.
may continue.
Thank you. And did you photograph him?
Yes, I did.
And what were you looking for specifically when you photographed him?
Any injuries or anything that looked like had blood on it, any clothing.
Did you see anything that had blood on it?
Yes.
What had blood on it?
I believe the pants.
Okay. And did he have any blood on his person?
Not to my recollection, no.
Did he have any injuries on his person?
I think I remember some red marks on his arms and maybe some scars that may or may not have been old.
Okay. Judge, may I approach?
Yes, you may.
Sir, I'm going to show you what's been pre-marked for identification as People's Proposed Exhibits 104 to 120. Could you please take a look at these and tell me if you recognize them?
Okay. Yes, I recognize it.
And are those the photos that you took of the defendant on March 23rd?
Yes.
And do they fairly and accurately depict the defendant as he was on that day when you saw him?
Yes.
Which I've moved to admit what's been pre-marked People's Proposed Exhibits 104 to 120 into evidence.
Previously stipulated.
Very well.
Thank
They
you.
are received.
Sir, can you direct your attention up to the screen? Can you tell us what is in People's Exhibit 104?
That's the defendant's overall shot of how he appeared when we arrived at the detention center.
Okay. And 105.
It's a close-up of the front of his face.
And did you see any injuries, any scratches, or anything like that on his face?
I thought I saw a little redness under his left eye.
106,
That's the left profile.
107,
The right profile.
108,
It's a top view of his hands
109,
and the palm view of his hands.
110.
A close-up of his shirt. There appeared to be a stain on the middle of the shirt that we thought might have been blood.
111.
A stain on the left front pants leg that also appeared to possibly be blood.
112.
The right front leg, another area that was stained with a substance.
113.
That is his right forearm, and there was some redness around the wrist area.
Around his wrist area.
Yes.
114.
That's a close-up of the previous shot.
115.
That's the underside of his wrist. We saw, a possible wound. We weren't sure. Just a document to be safe.
116.
That's another view of the wrist, the right wrist.
Okay, the same redness.
Yes.
Was he handcuffed when you saw him, or initially?
No, when we saw him, he was not handcuffed.
Okay. 117.
That was his back. There was some marking on his back, little red splotches.
Okay. 118.
The right knee, there was what looked like dry blood on the right knee.
119.
The left knee, which looked like it had a wound on it.
And 120.
The right foot, there was a little mark that possibly was a wound as well.
Looks like blood.
Yes.
Did you also recover the clothing that we've just seen in those photos?
Yes, we did.
May I approach, Judge? So I'm going to hand you what's been pre-marked for identification as People's Proposed Exhibit 121. If you can open this and take a look inside, tell me if you recognize it.
Okay, do you have any gloves?
I do have gloves.
Thank you. This appears to be, this appears to be the clothing. You want me to pull it out?
No, not yet.
Okay.
Does it look like it's in the same or substantially the same condition as when you recovered it?
Yes.
And when you recovered it, did you tag it as evidence?
Yes, we did.
What item number did you give it?
It was item number 29.
Judge, at this time I move to admit People's Exhibit 121.
No objection, Judge.
Shall be received.
May I publish?
Continue.
May I publish, Judge?
Yes, you may.
Okay. If you, now you want to take it out. Can you show it up towards the jury so they can see the screen? And those are the defendant's pants.
Yes.
Thank you. Is that his jacket?
Yes.
Thank you. And is that his sweater that you photographed with the suspected blood?
Yes. And that's the tire contents.
When you interacted with the defendant, what was his demeanor like?
He seemed relatively calm, and he cooperated with everything we asked.
And aside from collecting the clothing and taking the photos, did that conclude your investigation in this case?
Yes.
Nothing else, Judge?
Just briefly, Judge. Good morning, sir. You testified that you're not a Detroit police officer, correct?
That's correct.
So you obviously sought out some specialized training. Specifically, can you tell the jury what you did to...
We trained with the Michigan State Police as well as in-house with the sworn officers.
How long did that take you to achieve your certificate?
We were constantly training, but initially we trained in-house for about 3 months before we started on the street, and then you're on the street for about a year.
How long have you been employed as an evidence technician?
Since November of 1998, about 18 years.
Very well. You mentioned that Mr. Muntean, when you observed him and photographed him at the Detroit Detention Center, that he had some injuries to his person that you photographed?
Yes.
Specifically, do you know if he received any medical attention either at the DDC or by the officers?
No, I don't have that information.
Okay. You mentioned was a scratch or I'm not sure how you characterized it, under his left eye.
I thought I saw some redness, yes, under his left eye.
But you didn't observe any scratch or anything like that?
In his face?
Yes.
No, I don't think so.
Specifically, you mentioned marks or marking or redness about his wrists?
Yes.
You also described his demeanor as being calm and cooperative with you?
Yes.
Do you have any estimate, and I understand if you don't, between the time that he was placed under arrest at the scene to when you photographed him and had an interaction with him at the DDC?
No, I don't have that information.
Just so the jury is aware, the DDC stands for Detroit Detention Center, correct?
Yes.
I have no other questions, Judge.
All right, redirect.
May I have just a moment, Judge? Nothing else, Judge.
You may step down. You may call your next.
Just the people call evidence detective James Fitzhugh.
Very well. You may proceed.
Thank you, Judge. Good morning, sir. Could you please state your name and introduce yourself to the jury?
Sure. My name is Eugene Fitzhugh.
And
I'm a
how long- I'm sorry.
police officer with the City of Detroit.
And how long have you been a police officer with the City of Detroit?
A little over 27 years.
And in what capacity do you work for the police department?
I work in what is now called the Crime Scene Services Unit.
And what is your role there?
We respond to crime scenes, everything from home invasions to homicide scenes. Generally, we work under the direction of the officer that's in charge of the case. Our duties include taking photographs at the scene, searching for, collecting, preserving the evidence that we find. We do a report and sometimes a scene sketch.
Okay. And I want to direct your attention back to March 25th of 2016. Were you working in that capacity on that day?
Yes.
Okay. And did you receive a request for some analysis on a truck?
I got a written work request to process a vehicle, yes.
Okay. And where was the vehicle located at that time?
At Jean's Tow.
And what type of vehicle was it?
If I can refer to my, I think it was a 2000 and...
Refer to recollection to refer to your report?
Yes. A blue 2007 Chevy Silverado pickup, 4-door.
And what was the license plate number?
Plate on the vehicle was Lincoln Charles 7926.
And when you were processing this vehicle, did you assign it a crime lab number?
I did.
What crime lab number did you assign?
Crime lab number that was assigned was 16-511S2. S2 stands for Supplemental Report 2.
So the first one probably would have been the scene.
The first three numbers is the first incident or scene that we process, and anything after that becomes a supplement.
Okay. And so did you went to Jean's Tow?
Yes.
And what did you do to process this vehicle?
Well, the work requests wanted me to photograph the vehicle, search for certain evidence. What I wound up doing was photographing the vehicle. I collected blood evidence. Again, if I can refer to my report, I can be more specific.
Sure.
What I collected from the vehicle was a gun safe that was underneath the armrest, suspected blood from the right front door handle, suspected blood from the right rear door, $5.73 in U.S. coin, a pink wallet, roll of masking tape, a suspected blood sample from the center front seat, and 3 fingerprint lifts from different areas of the car, or the truck.
And you also photographed the truck?
I did.
Right. May I approach the judge?
Yes, you may.
Can you take a look at those?
Certainly. Beautiful.
And are those the photos that you took of the truck on March 25th of 2016?
Yes.
Do they fairly and accurately depict the truck and its contents as you observed them?
Yes.
Judge, at this time I'd move to admit People's Exhibits 122 through 144.
No objection, Judge.
Shall be received.
Thank you, Judge. So I'm going to direct your attention up to the screen. What's in 122?
That's an ID shot. What we do throughout the course of our shift, we may go to multiple scenes. We have to take multiple photographs, and so each scene is divided by the ID shot. That's an ID shot of the vehicle that I'm processing. It gives the date, the time that I'm starting to work on the vehicle, the location, the officer that's in charge of the case. That's what the OIC stands for. The crime, which in this case was assault with intent, my name, my badge number, and my vehicle code, which is 4702.
And 123?
On the reverse side, it gives the vehicle information. If you look on the far left, you see CYMBAL. Those letters identify the color, which is blue, the year of the vehicle, which is a 2007. M stands for the make, which is a Chevy Silverado LT. It's a 4-door pickup. The VIN number, the full VIN number, which is 17 characters, and then the license number, which I alluded to earlier, which is Charles Lincoln Charles 7926.
Okay. And People's Exhibit 124, is that the license plate?
That's a photograph of the license plate, yes.
And Exhibit 125, is that the driver's side of the truck?
Correct.
This is at Jeans.
At Jeans, yes.
And 126, the front.
Photograph of the front of the vehicle,
127?
right side of the vehicle.
What's in 128?
Can I see that a little closer?
Yeah, we'll hand you the photo. Up close.
Looks like the door handle.
And is there anything on the door handle?
Blood, suspected blood.
And you mentioned as part of the things that you did in this case that you collected some samples.
I collected, I think, 3 or 4 blood samples.
Where did you collect those blood samples from?
From the door, if I can refer to my report so I can be specific.
That was what your report?
Yes. I collected a suspected blood sample from the right front door handle.
And that would be the passenger door?
Right front, yes, that would be the passenger door.
Okay.
Suspected blood sample from the right rear door, and a suspected blood sample from the center front seat.
Okay. People's Exhibit 129?
I think that's the left front door, driver's door.
And Exhibit 130?
It didn't change.
Oh,
Okay, that's the driver's compartment, showing the driver's seat, steering wheel, and the contents that's in the driver's compartment.
131?
That also is the driver's front seat. There's papers, if I remember correctly, there's some torn, the yellow paper is torn, it's got some measurements on it. That is, the bag there is, again, I need to refer to my report, please.
Is that what
Yes.
refresh your recollection?
It's an empty cookie bag of some sort.
Would you characterize the overall contents of the truck as messy?
Messy, yes. Unkept. Unkept.
Unkept. Okay. Did you find any blood on the driver's seat?
No.
Exhibit 132. What are we looking at?
That is the left rear door.
133?
Left rear compartment. It's got a yellow tub with some miscellaneous items in it. There's a backrest pillow that's wedged between the driver's seat and the rear seat. If I recall, there was some music CDs and a hammer in the rear compartment.
Exhibit 134.
Same thing so far. Okay. That's the left rear. There's a child safety seat there.
Sorry, you said left rear?
Left rear. Passenger side rear. I'm sorry, right rear.
Okay. So passenger side nonetheless.
Passenger side rear. Okay. There's a child safety seat and some miscellaneous contents in the right rear compartment of the vehicle.
135?
That is the right front. That's the right front door. If you look closely on the armrest of the door, there's suspected blood.
And did you take a blood sample from this area?
I don't think so.
Just from the
Just from the
passenger seat and then the outside of the door?
Correct.
136?
That's a closer view of the right front door.
137?
That's the right front seat.
I'm sorry.
That's also the right front seat.
Hold on. Just get your head to there. All right, 137.
That's the, looks like the right front passenger compartment.
And is that the area that you took the blood sample from?
Yes.
138.
Again, the right front passenger compartment. You can see the glove box on the far right. The seat, front seat cushion, the seat back cushion Looks like some chip bags on the seat, and suspected blood, and looks like a drink bottle on the floor.
And 139?
That's also the right front seat. You see what is suspected blood on the seat back cushion.
Okay. And when you're processing the truck, you are processing it as you found it, is that correct?
Yes. Basically, what I do is I walk around on the outside, take a cursory look, then I begin to photograph it, and I take a closer look at each area of the vehicle.
Prior to photographing, do you move anything around?
No. Well, I open the doors up, look and see what I see, a document, what I see, and then as I go through the truck, then yes, I may move some things around.
140.
That's the right front seat. There's looks like a chip bag and another perhaps cookie bag or something, and then in the fold of the seat there's what looks like a pair of eyeglasses and some suspected blood.
Anything else in the fold of that seat?
There's some you can't see it that well, but there's some tape just in front of the, or to the right of the yellow bag.
Is it more helpful if I hand you the pictures?
Yes,
okay.
that might help. That might help.
Instead of making you have to look that far?
Yes, there's this. Okay. Anyway, there's some straws, zesty ranch. I guess that's some sort of a snack.
Dirt and
Yes,
debris.
there's dirt, grass, tape,
Okay.
and another cookie bag or something, Gerber's cookie bag or something.
Okay. Baby food?
Baby food, I guess.
Was part of the request to check the fuel level of the truck?
Yes,
And did you do that?
I did.
And what was, did the truck have fuel?
It was empty.
And is that reflected in 141?
Yes.
142.
That's a gun safe.
And did you collect, you mentioned that you collected that item?
I did.
I'm going to show you what's in pre-market people proposed exhibit 153. Can you take a look at that? Tell me if you recognize it.
Certainly. Has the CRISNet number, which is the identification number for the case. Got possible gun safe with gun enclosed, unable to open due to key and combination lock. The evidence tag corresponds with the information that's on the package.
Did you give that particular piece of item, evidence an item number?
It's item number, in the CRISNet system, it's item number 32.
Okay. Can you please open that and take a look and tell me if it's in the same condition as the cover bag?
I got a cutting tool here in a minute.
Okay.
Somewhere in my pocket. I'll make it get out of it.
Here, Dr. Smith.
Oh, that'll help. Thank you.
I'll let me get you some gloves.
Thank you. Thank you.
And before you pull it out, you can just take a look at it and tell me if it's the same condition.
Certainly appears to be.
No objection. Shall be received.
Thank you. Could you hold it up and show it to the jury?
Sure.
Thank you. And you found this where in the truck?
It was underneath the armrest between the driver and the front passenger seat.
Thank you. All right, I want to go back to our photos. Looking at 143, what's in that photo?
That's a photograph of the bed of the truck underneath the tonneau top. Miscellaneous tools back there. Just a photograph of the bed of the truck.
And 144.
That's a tote bag with some gym shoes and what looks like other athletic equipment in there.
Okay. And you also recovered, you mentioned a roll of masking tape.
Correct.
I'm going to hand you what's been pre-marked People's Proposed Exhibit 154. Take a look at that.
Certainly.
Do you recognize that?
I do. Roll of masking tape. The number on here is the same number as on the evidence tag.
Okay, could you
It's
take
item number 37.
Can you open it?
Certainly.
Can you tell me, before you do that, can you tell me if it's in the same or substantially the same condition?
It is. Yeah.
So there's no good admit People's Exhibit 154. What made you recover the masking tape?
I'm sorry.
What made you recover the masking tape?
It was one of the requests that was in the work order.
I'm going to trade you. I'm going to hand you People's Proposed Exhibits 145, 146, and 147. Same thing. Can you take a look at each of these?
Certainly.
Do you recognize those?
I do.
And what are they?
3 suspected blood samples, 1 from the right front door handle, 1 from the right rear door, and 1 from the seat cushion center console.
Could you take a look inside and tell me if they're in the same condition as when you collected them? I think you can just unwind on most of those.
Yeah.
Or not. Okay. That's Exhibit 145, right?
I'm sorry.
It's on this tag, right?
Yes,
Okay.
145, yes.
And is it in the same condition as when you collected it?
It is in the same condition that it was when I collected. However, it's been examined by the state.
Okay. Judge, I'd move to admit People's Exhibit 145.
No objection.
I'll take that from you. Can you do the same thing with those 2 others?
Certainly. Okay, this is in the same condition as I packaged it. However, it does not appear to have been examined by the state.
Okay. And that's 146? Exhibit,
146, yes, ma'am.
Judge, I move to admit Exhibit 146.
No objection.
shall be received.
Thank you, Judge. And I'll take that. Thank you. And the last one there?
Certainly. Okay, this is the same condition as it was when I packaged it, and it appears to be examined by the state.
Judge, I move to admit delivery exhibit 147.
No objection.
Shall be received.
Thank you, sir.
Mm-hmm.
Now, when you were examining the truck, were you able to locate any shell casings from a bullet?
I did not find any, no.
Did you look for them specifically?
Yes.
You also mentioned that you collected some latent prints.
Yes.
What does that mean?
I dusted the vehicle for fingerprints, and a latent print is a print when you dust. The dust will raise the print. In other words, it'll make the print visible. I then go through the process of actually collecting the print from the vehicle, putting it on a plastic lift, and submitting it to latent prints for processing.
And the submitting it, when you say latent prints, you mean within the Detroit Police Department?
Yes.
Okay. And how many latent print lists were you able to find on
Three.
the truck?
3.
Okay. Do you know where you found those?
Certain, if I can refer to my report, please.
If that would refresh the record?
Yes. Latent prints were obtained from the left front outside door handle, left rear outside door, and left rear, also from the left rear outside door.
And can you describe the condition of the outside of the truck?
The truck was in good condition. It did have some accident damage to the left rear quarter panel at about the bumper, but other than that, it was in pretty good condition. There was a lot of mud and grass in the treads of the tires, and it was dirty.
Okay. What did you observe in the driver's compartment?
In the Department of Drivers area, there was a, if I can refer to my report, please, because it was quite extensive. There was an African cigarette pack of cigarettes. It was on the driver's seat, small torn yellow sheet of paper with the measurements, which I mentioned earlier, an empty pack of CVS moist wipes on the seat cushion, an empty cookie bag, a can of brake fluid on the floor in front of the driver's seat, white tissue on the floor in front of the driver's seat, and a case of music CDs on the dash.
And what about in the passenger compartment, aside from the suspected blood, which we've already talked about, and the masking tape and the glasses? Is there anything else?
Front passenger compartment, there was suspected blood on the interior door panel, suspected blood on the seat cushion, suspected blood on the back cushion, pair of eyeglasses on the seat cushion, roll of masking tape, and open mail in the center console for, I got RDU Moten.
Okay. Muntean?
Muntean, perhaps.
Okay. What was in the rear compartment of the truck? You've already told us about the hammer, I believe, and the pillow we looked at.
Well,
is there anything else?
are we talking about the driver's side or the passenger side?
Both. Give us both.
Okay. Left rear, there was a tub on the seat containing shoes, eyeglasses, eyeglass case, music CDs, sundries, men's clothing on a hanger hanging from the rear seat, plaid back rest pillow that was wedged between the driver's seat and the rear seat, a claw hammer on the floor between the rear door and the seat mounts, a green nylon bag containing assorted chips, a single-edged axe on the seat cushion, a stuffed animal on the floor, a rubber mallet on the floor of the vehicle. And then for the passenger side of the vehicle in the rear, there was a child safety seat, stuffed animal on the floor, rubber mallet on the floor, eyeglass case on the floor, music CDs on the floor, and spilled popcorn and fish crackers on the floor.
Okay. And lastly, in the bed of the truck.
Inspected the truck. There was a green backpack containing athletic shoes, blue nylon tote bag with tools and rope, a large cardboard box with vehicle maintenance supplies.
Okay. And aside from it processing the truck, does that conclude your investigation in this matter?
Yes, and doing my report.
And doing your report. And you put all of those findings in your report? As
Correct.
well? Okay. Nothing else, Judge.
Cross-examination.
Good afternoon, officer.
Good afternoon, sir.
27 years at your job.
Yes.
You didn't start off as an evidence technician, though, did you?
I started off on patrol
How long have you been an evidence tech?
about 17 years.
Okay. You've had the specific specified training, special training to become an evidence tech, correct?
Yes, sir.
I just have a few brief questions for you. I believe you testified that you did a thorough examination of not only, it's apparent, not only of the passenger section, the up front section, driver's seat, the half cab in the back, but the bed of the pickup, correct?
Correct.
And of all your inspection and photographs and so forth, you did not come up with a single spent shell casing, correct?
I did not find any, no.
Were you able yourself as an evidence, in your role as an evidence technician for the Detroit Police Department, to inspect any weapons that could have been possibly involved in this incident?
Generally, if I found any, I wouldn't inspect them. I would turn them over to the department that's requesting the work, and we send to the state police if any testing needed to be done.
Right, but you didn't do that in this case. You didn't have the opportunity,
No,
correct?
only thing I did was collect the gun box, gun safe.
Approximately how, if you had to estimate, how heavy is that gun box or gun safe?
Not that heavy. I didn't think it was heavy.
Okay. So it'd be relatively easy, in your opinion, and experience, that could be easily lifted. It was empty, right?
I don't think it was empty, but I don't know.
So
I didn't have access to
you
it.
didn't have access to open
Correct.
it up?
Correct.
Okay. But it appeared, at least my observation, that you had no problem picking it up
Oh,
and
no, it's
handling it.
light enough to pick up.
And the prosecutor handed it
Correct.
to you? Okay. Fuel tank empty?
It was
correct?
empty.
And that gun safe was it
Underneath the armrest.
okay, so
If
was
you
it
lift the armrest up, it was underneath the armrest.
okay, so it was a bench seat style truck, or was it separate seats?
I'm not sure. I think it was a sort of a split bench.
So
It was not bucket,
Right.
but it was probably a split bench, so you could operate the driver's seat independent of the passenger seat.
I dated myself earlier by referring it to as a bucket seat, because I don't know what they're called, but the bench seat, if you flip that console up, it becomes basically one seat, correct?
One seat with a division. So
Correct.
if you were, for example, if you were driving and your legs were longer than mine, you could, push the seat back, whereas my seat wouldn't have to necessarily be pushed back. On a bench seat, as I know it, a traditional bench seat, when you push the driver's seat back, the whole thing goes back. So I would call it a split bench.
Theoretically, though, if I sat in the passenger seat, I could slide unobstructed to the driver's seat, because there's not
Oh.
you wouldn't fall into
Oh,
the
yeah,
seats,
for sure,
right?
yeah. Yes, you could.
No further questions, Judge.
Any redirect?
No, Judge.
You may step down and we'll call your next witness.
Judge, before calling the next witness, I'm just going to grab the scissors from underneath the witness chair.
All right.
Judge, at this time, I have two stipulations to read into the record.
You may.
Thank you, Judge. I have the first one marked as People's Proposed Exhibit 149, and it reads as follows. The defendant, his counsel of record, and the people of the state of Michigan stipulate that if Brent Scrutchen, a latent print examiner with the Detroit Police Department, were to testify, he would state the following. He received evidence, one usable fingerprint list from the left front door handle of the 2007 Chevy Silverado pickup truck, which was dusted by evidence technician Eugene Fitzhugh and placed on evidence on Detroit Prisnet number 160-323-0197, item 40. He identified Radu Muntean on the above listed automobile, left front door handle, middle finger number 8, left middle. There are no unidentified latent print impressions left on the above listed automobile. So after that, they admitted as 149.
All right. And ladies and gentlemen, a stipulation is an agreement between the attorneys that you may consider as being true.
And then I have marked 150. It's a bit longer, so bear with me. It reads as follows. The defendant, his counsel of record, and the people of the state of Michigan stipulate that if Rebecca Scaglin, a forensic scientist with the Michigan State Police, were to testify, she would state the following. She received evidence, item number NV16-2547-1, one roll of duct tape, item 13. Item NV16-2547-2, apparent hairs, item 20. Item NV16-25473, one swab from the right front door handle with suspected blood staining, item 33. Item NV16-2547-4, one swab from seat cushion at center console with suspected blood staining, item 38. Item NV16-25475, one buccal swab from Natalia Muntean, item 43. Item NV16-2547-6, one buccal swab from Radu Muntean. Item NV16-2547-7A1, a jacket, item 29. Item 16-2547-7B1, sweater, item 29, which was not examined. Item NV16-2547-7C, one pair of jeans, item 29, not examined. She determined that items NV16-25471, one roll of duct tape, the same NV number 2, which is apparent hairs, same NV number 3, which is the swab from the right front door handle of suspected blood staining, same NV number 4, one swab from the seat cushion of the center console with suspected blood staining, again same NV number 7A, one jacket, tested, I'm going to spell it, PHENOL-PHTHALEIN, positive, indicating the possible presence of blood. She retained the items received for DNA analysis, which will be the subject of a separate report. She placed these findings in the report, numbered NV16-2547, record 1. I ask that be admitted.
Farewell, you stipulate.
So stipulated.
Farewell.
And Judge, may we approach?
Yes, you may. Let me call your next witness.
People call the second Sarah Markle. Judge, may we approach it again briefly?
Yeah.
solemnly swear or affirm that the testimony you are about to give in the matter of any before this court is the truth and nothing but the truth. Could you explain your
You may proceed.
Thank you. Good afternoon, ma'am. Could you please state your name and introduce yourself to the jury?
Yes, my name is Detective Sarah Markle. I work for the Detroit Police Department Cyber Crimes Team.
Okay. And as part of your duties and responsibilities, what are some of those things that you do with the cyber crimes unit?
One of our main functions with the Cybercrime Unit is to conduct forensic examinations on cell phones
And how long have you been with that unit?
since the end of March.
And do you have to have any type of special training in order to conduct these forensic examinations on cell phones?
Yes.
What type of training do you have to have?
We have to have training on the software programs that are used. We also have training on handling, processing, recording, all types of things with digital type evidence.
And how many hours of training approximately did you complete?
Approximately 50 to 60.
And since you have been in that unit, have you had occasion to examine forensically on cellular phones?
Yes, I have.
How many cellular phones would you estimate that you've examined since you started?
Approximately 50.
Have you been qualified as an expert before in the forensic examination of cellular phones?
I have not.
Judge, I would move to qualify Detective Markle as an expert in the forensic examination of cell phones.
No objection, Judge.
All right. She may testify as an expert in that field.
And ma'am, I want to direct your attention particularly to the People versus Radu Muntean. Did you receive some evidence in connection with this case?
I did.
And what evidence did you receive?
I received a white Samsung Galaxy S4 cell phone.
And I'm going to show you what's been pre-marked for identification of People's Proposed Exhibit 163. Can you take a look at that?
Yes.
Tell me if it looks familiar to you.
Yes, this is the phone that I received.
Okay, and is that the phone that did you examine that phone?
Yes,
And does that phone have an evidence number?
it does.
What's the item number?
The item number is 22.
Okay. And who recovered that phone originally? Do you know?
I believe it was the evidence text, but
Okay.
I can't be sure.
Okay. And is it in the same or substantially the same condition as when you received it?
Yes.
Judge, I'd move to admit People's Exhibit 163.
No objection.
Shall be received.
Thanks. You mentioned you had had some special training in software programs. Did you use those software programs to analyze the phone in this case?
I did. I used the XRY forensic software.
And what is that software program?
XRY is a forensic software program that is downloaded or installed on a computer. From that software, we are able to connect a mobile phone, a cell phone, to the open port through a USB connection. The software then is able to extract a forensic duplicate of the data that is contained on the cell phone.
So can you break that down kind of for us in layman's terms?
When the phone is connected to the computer, similar to if you were to connect your own phone excuse me, to your computer, you can see some data such as pictures on a phone. With the software, this allows us to get much more data from the phone. We are able to, in most cases, we're able to get text messages, call history, contact lists. We are able to get, depending on each phone and depending on the make, model, what is installed, we are able to sometimes get deleted data as well as data from applications that have been installed.
And were you able to do that in this case?
I was able to extract the data that was on the phone. I was able to get the texts, the call records, the contacts, and some data from the applications, yes.
Were you able to get any type of location information on where the phone was on a particular day or time?
I could not get GPS location.
Okay. And is that typical?
It is typical unless each phone is specifically programmed to record that. We generally will not have it. Phones do not record GPS automatically.
Okay. Did you focus your attention on March 22nd and 23rd of 2016?
I did.
And when you examined the phone, and I assume the software generated a report?
Yes. Once the extraction is done, there's also a second part of the software that exports the report into a readable file. When we export into a readable file, I'm able to download a PDF file that would be readable to anybody who sees it.
Okay. And did you analyze the report then?
I did review the report, yes.
Okay. Looking for things on March 22nd and March 23rd?
Correct.
Okay. And I don't remember if I asked you, but just in case, did you receive consent to search this phone?
I did receive consent. Detective Drapkowski, the officer in charge, delivered a signed consent to search form as well as the phone.
And who was the signed consent form from?
Natalia Muntean.
I'm going to show you people's proposed exhibits 155 through 162. Can you take a look at these and tell me if you recognize them?
I do.
And what are they?
These are photographs that I took of the phone itself with the Signal app that was used to send and receive texts, pictures, and phone calls.
Okay, and do those photos fairly and accurately depict your analysis of the phone, what you found on March 22nd and March 23rd, 2016?
They do.
Judge, I'd move to admit people's exhibits 155 through 162.
No objection.
Shall be received.
Thank you, Judge. So I want to take a step back for a second. You mentioned when you were talking about what those pictures show, you said that an app, Signal, was used. Is that the method of communication you found was used on March 22nd, 2016?
Yes.
Okay. And what is Signal?
Signal is an application that can be downloaded and installed on cell phones. It is similar to like a Snapchat maybe. So it uses an internet connection. It does not use cellular data as in the same way that a phone call or a text message through the phone and through the phone carrier. It's an internet-based connection that can be used for talking, texting, and pictures.
Okay. And does the data received from Signal, is that processed by the phone in a normal way, or is it kind of lumped in all together?
When the phone processes applications such as that from the internet, the software does the best that it can to parse out that data. For example, it may take, when it sees a picture, it may put it into where the rest of the pictures on the phone are. Or when it sees a text, it may put it in with the text messages. It does, based on the updates to the software program and based on the phone settings and updates itself, it does the best it can to put it into the report where it thinks that it should go.
Okay. What communications were you able to find from March 22nd, 2016? And if you need to refer to the pictures that are in evidence now, go ahead.
The conversation, I found a conversation through the Signal app
And I'm sorry, just what exhibit are you about to reference? Number, the exhibit number, I think it's on the back.
It is 157.
Okay, continue.
The Signal app is a blue type circle with what looks like a keyhole in the middle. That's the icon that shows up on the phone itself. I took a photograph of that, and what I found in there were the last conversation using Signal was between the phone that I got from Natalia Muntean and a person in the phone listed as Alex.
Okay. And you have no way of knowing when you're analyzing the phone who is actually using the phone to make those communications. Is that right?
Correct.
Okay. And all you know is that the phone is communicating with another device.
That's correct.
Okay. And what types of communications did you see with this Alex person?
May I read the
Yes,
conversation?
you can read the conversation. Just reference the exhibit that you're reading from.
On Exhibit 158, the first communication on this was a text message sent from this device to Alex, and the text was sent March 22nd at 7:01, and it says urgent.
Okay. And what happens after that?
At March 22nd at 7:01 p.m., there was a call placed to Alex.
And what next?
March 22nd at 8:26 p.m., there was a text sent that says Lyford Ave by French Road.
Okay. And that was sent to Alex?
Correct.
Okay. And what next?
After that was another text at 8:28 p.m. that says Coleman A. Young International Airport.
Okay. Moving on,
And moving on to 159. The conversation continues. There is a call from Alex at 8:33, March 22nd. There is a text message sent to Alex
And what's that text message contain?
that says Lobob and a phone number, a 248 phone number that was sent at 8:47
Okay.
p.m. The next text at 8:48 was sent to Alex, and it says 56 ending.
Okay.
The next text was from Alex to this phone at 8:48 that says I didn't get a picture.
And now exhibit 60, 160?
And 160 is it's a partial picture of a map.
Okay, and what is the map of? Does it appear?
The map appears to be a location. There's a blue dot at the end of the block on Lyford Ave. Just Lyford Ave in this picture appears to dead end, and it is just east of French Road. And there's also a marking that says Coleman A. Young. And on 161 is a completed picture of the date and time when that photo was sent to Alex. That was at 8:49 from this phone to Alex.
On March 22nd?
On March, everything is on March 22nd, yes. From Alex to this phone at 8:58 is a text message that says, "When do I go?" And then at March 22nd, 9:05, there was a call placed from this phone to Alex, and another call from Alex to this phone at 9:31.
And does that conclude?
Yes, the final 162 was a larger screenshot of the picture that shows the map.
Okay. Now, did you check the phone for any other types of communication from March 22nd and March 23rd?
I checked for those dates. I found that prior to roughly 5:30 or 6 o'clock p.m. on the 22nd, there had been some phone calls. There had been some more communication, nothing that, when I looked at it, when I reviewed the report, nothing that stood out.
Okay. And after these conversations with Alex that you've just gone over, was there any other communication at all from this phone?
I did not find any other communications from that phone. I did check the call history, the text messages, and the Signal app.
Okay. You didn't find any calls to 911 or to any local hospitals or anything like that?
I did not.
And aside from examining this phone, did that conclude your investigation?
It did.
Nothing else, Rich?
Okay. Short or long? Okay. Madam Jury, I'm going to sit here at lunch at this time. I've got several other cases. So I want you to return at this time. 2 o'clock. We'll make it 10 after 2. We'll give you some extra long period. All right.
Thank you.
You may be seated. On the cobs, approach the bench.
Judge, we don't need a cops. We have a sentence agreement,
Okay.
so we just need to have the plea form executed and.
All right.
Straight out. All right, for the jury.
You may be seated.
Okay.
We need a minute.